Hello everyone, this is the LEGO City Downtown Fire Brigade set, a big fireplace set to kick off 2019. There's a lot to see here, lots to talk about, so let's get into some of the specifics. This big turntable ladder truck is a big deal, has a bunch of new features that are integrated into it in various ways. We'll start up at the cab. I personally like the shaping of this and appreciate the change from a regular yellow color to the light yellow color as the accent. Now here's one of the new for 2019 features, the light and sound module for police and fire both. This has a single button on it, batteries pre-installed, it just fits onto a 2x4 base. It's used to connect the roof pieces together here, and when you push on that single button you get lights and sound at the same time, and there's only one option. It's not very loud, which is a good thing for parents, and it also doesn't go on for very long, and also the lights themselves are not very bright. I'll just do that again. And you can see that the light is actually emanating from the center section and doesn't really travel very far through the bricks. It's a fairly compact package though, very lightweight, and if it doesn't add too much cost to these sets, it's definitely a welcome addition. I think a lot of kids will appreciate that, although brighter lights would have been nicer, and I think the ability to have a lights only mode would have been especially nice. The back of the cab has 4 clips to hold on to minifig accessories, and that's showing off 2 of the brand new fire axe element. That is a single dual molded piece, and I think it looks great. Inside the cab, meanwhile, happy to report there is seating for 2 individuals, 1 driver up front and 1 passenger in the back. The trailer section has outriggers, 2 on either side that come all the way down to the ground. There's storage on either side. This side has a couple of water bottles in it. Over here is a spare air tank unit for a figure. And there are also a couple clips up front to hold on to accessories, including another piece of a breathing apparatus. The ladder can be angled up a fair amount, and it can also be rotated around on the turntable. It can go not quite 360 degrees when it's up, but has a pretty respectable range. At the base is a new little air bulb. It's just a rubber thing that you push to squeeze air through the long black tube. As you do that, a monitor at the end of the ladder has a suggestion of a water stream that comes out, and as you let go, it just sucks it usually most of the way back in, and it just allows you to attack fires like that. I'll show you how that works when we get to the building. Now, I should point out that basically all of this here is offered up as one preformed assembly. You're not intended to take these things apart. You don't have to put them together in the first place. This right here is not a lightsaber blade or standard bar sized piece. It actually has a cross-shaped cross section to it, and it doesn't seem to follow any normal standard. What else is there to talk about here? You can't really turn this side to side. You have to turn the entire turntable. It just has the piece itself, just has a Technic axle connector on the base of it. So here they've just attached that to a hinge so it can be angled up and down. And by default, all you need to do to assemble this is just to add the silicone hose to the back of it. That should be the standard style for modern silicone hoses from LEGO. Just fits directly over it, fits on pretty easily, and it's fairly secure. You can also assemble this, and you'll see this in another set, with the bulb attached directly to the back of this. So that's the other option. It's actually potentially a little bit more convenient. The piece at the other end, meanwhile, is essentially a modified 1x3 Technic beam or lift arm with the receptacle for this single rubber piece. So that just fits over there, and then the silicone hose just attaches to the inside of that. Same way, just press it in, and yeah, it works. Yeah, it works. Notice the nice little console sticker in front of the turntable. It's kind of a shame that that's fairly hidden away. You don't get to appreciate it very much. And there's also a pretty nice design for the back of this. I like the shaping and also the stickers there. Now, most of the bulk of the trailer looks like it's intended to be just a water tank or something, but in the toy it's actually something that opens up and allows you to get at a remotely operated little vehicle. This is something that you would drive into especially dangerous situations. Has a couple of small robot arms that come out of it. And this is a new feature here on top with just a little bit of ability to angle it up and down. It is a 3-tile shooter. It shoots round 1x1 tiles, and it does them together, kind of shotgun style. It is possible, though, to be a little bit more careful and to shoot them one at a time. It's kind of nice having multiple shots without reloading, and it's also nice that this doesn't fire things off as quickly and with as much speed and force as the small stud shooters, the handheld style ones, because you're able to really set how much pressure you put into the plunger that's used here. So you can have these come out fairly slowly, so they're a lot less likely to get away from you and get lost. The requisite fire helicopter has one of those tile cannons as well. And I think it's a good use of that here because it's easy to grab this whole thing, to fly it around, and to just use one thumb to fire off some shots. It's probably about as good as a 6-stud shooter for play because you do get multiple shots. You don't get as many as you do with the 6-stud shooter, but this feels a little bit more controllable. And again, it's less likely that you will lose the ammunition pieces. This is, of course, just another helicopter that uses the same canopy piece that they've been using for years and years now. It actually felt like an okay build to me. Not the most boring. Yeah, there's a little bit of offset here with the jumpers used for the tail and everything. This should have had a cover on the top of it. Those two exposed open studs are weird to me. Also, this being completely open on the side with the Technic axle hole there is a little bit weird, but it's not a bad helicopter, just for basic play. Here's the Fire motorcycle, which looks like a super bike. So it looks like it's extremely fast, like a Busa or something, maybe a little bit overkill for the application. But for what this is, it's fairly decently appropriated with accessories. You get a couple of traffic cones there that you can set out at a incident scene, and a fire extinguisher, of course, done just in regular white this time. That's interesting. And on the other side is another clip, which has a radio walkie-talkie unit. So the building then. Let's first look at this as a structure and then talk about some of the fire play features that are built into it. The way it's boarded up suggests that the building is abandoned, or you could see it as, with all the construction stuff going on, a renovation project that has just kicked off. Or you can see it as a regular building if you want, or you can see this as a training structure at an actual fire training facility. So it would be something that wasn't necessarily designed to ever have been used for commercial purposes. One thing that's missing for fire training, though, is a stairway. So there's no way to access these upper floors. The whole thing is 6 studs deep, as you can see, but almost all of the interior space is used up for fire action features. Speaking of which, these tiles on the front are attached with just 1 stud each, so they're intended to be taken off pretty easily with an axe. That feels good. Once access has been provided, you can then drive the remotely operated vehicle in there to actually put out this very dangerous looking fire on top of a fuel canister. There are 2 of those canisters included in the set. See if this works. Nope. There we go. Almost. Yeah, 3rd time's the charm. They also suggest that you can use the remote vehicle to take the can out, just in case it hasn't fully exploded yet and still has some material inside. Also inside the building is a paint roller on top of what I'm assuming is a paint can, and there's a torch in there. The second floor flames are intended to be fought with the ladder apparatus, like so. Come along and line it up. There we go. That works. There you go. Kind of. I mean, flames are still very visible. They're not able to even fall down all the way. Also, have to caution against using this monitor unit, the water jet emitter, either level or angled down, because then the simulated water jet doesn't really want to retract in. It doesn't really work well. So you want to have this always angled up if possible to help that water jet to come back in fairly consistently. It's little bit of a miss with the design of this. See there, one time it came in, 2 times, most of the times it's staying out. And then here on the 3rd floor, we have a little bit different setup with the flame actually needing to be repeatedly hit to get it to go out all the way. You just keep hitting it to push it out of a slot, and you have to line that up just right. Again, this thing isn't retracting all that well. There we go. You kind of have to work at it. You have to fight the fire, fight against it. There we go. Lastly, we have these bits of fire up on the roof, and those are intended to be attacked by the fire helicopter with its tile cannon. Next up, we get a construction site crane, which is intended to be remotely operated. It is able to rotate around on its base, and it also has a winch that can allow a hook to go down and come back up. The boom itself is not able to extend in and out beyond about that. Let's see if I can get it. Yeah, that's really all there is to it. They didn't give you a long piece in there to change that. So this is tall, but fairly simple. Here's some more stuff to add to a construction site with the outhouse there. And also this is supposed to be the remote to use on the remote controlled crane. They also have one additional clip down there at the base, which I believe is supposed to be used to hold a jackhammer. It's also included with the set for a construction site. And then this is, I believe, just a big old work light. It just has a light up here, that's kind of on a tower. And I think this is supposed to be a generator down at the base. They have a basic sticker on there to show a console. It looks like it's intended to be a generator. So there's a lot of electricity that's going through this. You also see that there's a little hoop on the top of it. So that can be put up with the use of the hook on the crane. You can also use the crane to pick up and move around the porta potty, the outhouse. But when you do that, something might go wrong. Something maybe like this. The thing will break apart. So if you have a figure in there, he's going to be very embarrassed. You got the toilet paper there and the seat. The whole thing does not come up together. It is not intended to be used as one piece off this base plate. I think it's actually pretty funny though. Would have been better if you could actually move it around correctly as an option, but just as it is, it's a little different and allows you to do some other things. I'm sure a lot of kids will have fun with that. Thanks to a couple of Technic bricks, these 2 parts of the construction site are able to connect together at a perfect spot that allows you to enable one other play feature. Imagine that you're lifting up this outhouse and it breaks apart like this and you panic a little bit. The thing is swinging all around and you accidentally hit the light. And what happens is the light is electrified. It hits this AC unit and it raises the fires. Feels a little bit contrived to me because the flames are always very obvious. Even when they're put out, they're sticking up just too much, not to mention the fact that they're sticking out the back. But yeah, it's a thing. I appreciate the attempt, but needs to be better in my opinion. Also, while I'm here, the clock is something that can be interacted with the crane, so you can try to pull that off to save it as a historical unit, or you can try to attach it in the first place, but it's just it's a little bit tough to get that off. You really need to get your hands in there, pull it off yourself, and then just use the crane to move it around. There are 7 minifigures in total in this set. I like the regular red color for the helmets that they've introduced now, and I especially like that center outfit. The whole thing looks really, really good to me, particularly believable. The figure over on the right is intended to be the motorcycle rider, but of course it's Lego, so you can just swap things around as you like. There's the rest of that torso print for the back of the one in the center, which also looks good. Alternate face there. And just to make sure you saw the full faces on the front. Here on the right is the helicopter pilot, who has a very, very bright color scheme. It really shines in real life. And the print is a little bit simple on his torso and legs alike, but I think it looks pretty good with some fairly fine lines included in there, and a little bit of metallic printing for the high visibility stripes. On the left, I believe that's supposed to be the fire chief this time around, who would be the first female fire chief officially in Lego, if I'm not mistaken on that. And of course it's Lego, so if that really bothers anybody, you can just swap pieces around. She has in her hands the remote control device for the remotely operated vehicle, the little rover, which has the camera display on it as well. And looking at these around the back, the torso print on the one on the right is not that good to me because of the fire department emblem in the center, which is lacking some opacity. It just kind of looks like it's faded away a little bit. No alternate faces for either of these. And lastly, here are the two negligent construction workers who have caused all this trouble in the first place. Now here, I really don't like the print on the torso of the one on the left. Just the level of detail comparing the two is vastly different. The one on the left almost looks like it's from the early 2000s or something. It's just not there. It does have some finer printing on it, but overall it looks rather plain to me personally. I like the torso on the right much better. The printing on the back of that one on the left is similarly simple, maybe even more so. You do get an alternate face here. Now that one is very useful. Too bad you don't get two alternate faces, one for each of these, since presumably both of them would be feeling very bad about all the fires. One last thing that you build in this set is this very delicious looking sandwich. If you want to see the roughly 2.5 hour build of this set compressed down to a much more manageable length, you can check that out over on my build channel, and I'll put a link to that in the pinned comment and the card on the right side of this video, and also at the end of the review video so you can get to it conveniently. Here are the parts that are left over after that build process is complete, not including a couple sets of the extra water tiles for the tile cannon, so you get a total of, 12 of those in the set officially, I believe it is. Nothing too fancy to see here for extras. That is a bright green colored flower piece. It's one of those short Technic sleeves. That's a useful piece. Extra arm in dark gray. Pretty standard stuff though, mostly. So that's a lot of Lego with several brand new features and a whole lot of attempts to bring in possibilities for actual play and replay here. The thing that I personally was most looking forward to was using this water pump, which really should not be marketed as a water pump because it does not pump water. I mean, they do show you the plastic pieces there, but still it suggests that it's an actual water pump, and it's not. But it works decently when it's angled upward. When it's level, it's a little bit frustrating. When it's angled down, it's basically unusable. So a little bit of a mixed bag there. I get the general concept for it. I wish that it was a little bit more consistent in how it would retract that fake stream. If it could do that a little bit better, then it would definitely be better overall. But the whole system is just not sealed up well enough for that. The light and sound module looks really good to me. I wish that it gave off more light. I'm glad that it doesn't give off too much sound. I wish there was an option to use it with no sound whatsoever. So you have maybe the lights going brighter and for a longer period of time. The construction site on the whole is a little bit rough to me. I guess this feature up here worked out pretty well, as far as how it actually works with the quote-unquote water pump, but it does take up all the space there. You have these whole very obvious rigs to hold the fire bits in place, and then the center thing here, like I said, just feels very contrived to me. I'm glad that they help you to line this up to make it work, but the fact that the flames are always super visible even once you put them out is not such a great thing. This simple little super basic subassembly is one of the most successful things in this set, in my opinion, because it's just really easy to fight that. And you knock it over and it stays over. Of course, you didn't see that just now, but it falls over and it stays falling over like that. And it gives you a target. It's easy. They're easy to reset. They're easy to build. You can put them anywhere, and you can be you can target these with absolutely anything. You can target them with stud shooters, you can target them with this, you can target them with the tile cannon. Tile cannon unit works, I think, just fine. I have no real complaints about that. I think that for its size and for what it is, the ability to use skill a little bit to change how it works is great. So you can just go for it and have a maximum chance of success at putting out a flame or hitting a target, or you can be a little bit more finesseful and get more life out of it, get multiple shots. That works out pretty well. This little thing, as just a little thing to attempt to add more play value at a minimum price, I think is very successful. I think it totally makes sense. It's believable. I think it attaches or connects to the real world in a good, sensible way. And the integration with the little tile cannon worked out. The selection of minifigures, I think, is fine, although that dude in particular has a strangely plain torso print. Overall, in terms of value here, I do feel like you get the price worth of stuff. The volume of stuff here makes sense, and the number of play possibilities here for the price that you pay makes sense to me. Not everyone will agree. Certainly, as I have made very clear, I'm not happy with all the features here, but just so I guess quality is not all there, but quantity absolutely is. If you like what you see, and certainly I think a lot of kids will be able to get more fun play value out of this than I can determine from looking at it and from playing around with it. But yeah, I don't think that this is a ripoff. It's just a question of how much you like and how much you believe in the action features and how much you're willing to put up with some of their quirks. Some kids will absolutely love this, I believe. Not all will. So it's really going to be a your mileage may vary sort of situation, and hope that I've shown you enough here to help you come to your own conclusions. Thank you for watching. I will talk to you again as soon as I can in my next video.